morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. As we start this event, I just want to introduce Mr. Frank Nutter, our board member. He'll be shaving today, and we're all excited to join on virtually to celebrate this moment. As we start this event, we're going to be doing a special giveaway. So the first 3 people who make a donation to Frank's participant page will receive a St. Baldrick swag bag. So be sure to look out for Frank's fundraising page in the YouTube chat. To kick us off, I'd like to introduce the CEO of the St. Baldrick's Foundation, Kathleen Ruddy.
Thank you, Liz, and good morning, everybody. It is my humble honor to welcome you on behalf of all of the children and families that we serve and the remarkable scientists whose work you are helping to fuel today. With all that's going on in the world right now, I just want to publicly thank Frank Nutter for stepping forward, not only as a brand new member of the St. Baldrick's Foundation Board of Directors, but stepping forward to shave and to help raise awareness and vital funds to help sustain the research pipeline for childhood cancer in this country. Thank you, Frank. You are an extraordinary human being. To those of you who have or will soon be supporting Frank's fast approaching but temporary baldness, I want to tell you why supporting St. Baldrick's is always a good idea and is a great idea right now. The St. Baldrick's Foundation is the largest funder of childhood cancer research grants aside from the US government. Our largest of 3 annual cycles of grants are coming up in June. And so the funds that you can contribute now to support Frank will be used for those life-saving research projects. St. Baldrick's has played a role in virtually every advancement made in the field of childhood cancer research for the last 20 years. We have helped make groundbreaking research innovation possible in the laboratory, and then have helped translate that from the laboratory into human patients, and to help fund the clinical trials that determine what is the best way to treat each and every child. St. Baldrick's has also helped ensure that a new generation of doctors is trained as researchers also, so that they can continue all of the innovative work that we support in other ways. Those grants that we fund are working to cure more than 100 different types of childhood cancers. And that work is allowing doctors to move beyond the traditional weapons of chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation to more humane therapies like gene therapies and immunotherapies, so that children not only survive cancer, but get to live a better quality of life because they are healthier every day of their life. Childhood cancer doesn't discriminate, and it certainly isn't taking time off because there's a pandemic going on. In the time that I've been explaining the important work of the St. Baldrick's Foundation to you, another child has just been diagnosed with cancer. Think about that for a second. Another boy or girl has just learned that the fight of their lives is on. They didn't choose it, but it found them. And you are standing up for them today by standing up for Frank. So thank you to all of you who are here and for giving generously. It's now my great privilege to introduce you to Dr. Jeffrey Turetsky of Georgetown University. Dr. Turetsky is the recipient of 5 St. Baldrick's grants, and he is studying Ewing sarcoma, the second most common form of bone cancer in children. Welcome, Dr. Turetsky.
There we go. Thank you, Kathleen. You can see in my laboratory today, it's kind of quiet because the laboratories have been temporarily shut down. But it's, you know, I'm here and we're keeping the fires going. So that's a good thing. I'm also a physician. So I'm a physician scientist. I'm a bit of an old fashioned, as you can tell from my lab, kind of creature. I both take care of kids with cancer. So I appreciate the wonderful work that St. Baldrick's is doing, helping clinical trials move forward and helping really on the front line of childhood cancer. But I also appreciate what's happening in the back room. St. Baldrick's has been particularly supportive to our lab for exactly what Kathleen mentioned is the next generation. So every year for I think the last 3 or 4 summers, I've had a summer student that's been supported by St. Baldrick's, and they've gone on to either enter medical school or go in and get a PhD. Last summer's student was just accepted and will matriculate in a PhD program at Baylor College of Medicine this summer. So that was last summer's student. Prior students of ours have started medical school, and this coming summer student, she herself is a survivor of childhood cancer. So it's really a way to give everybody a chance to learn about what cancer research is and then contribute going forward as they move into their own careers. And that's so important. You know, some of us are getting older, and they've got to be able to pass the mantle on to the next generation. And St. Baldrick's is definitely making that possible. In the meantime, there's a plethora of clinical trials that we're involved in here that, again, with St. Baldrick's support of the Children's Oncology Group, has been fantastic. And as a physician, you know, I benefit from that both ways. I have the laboratory support and the clinical support. And then my own research in the laboratory has been fortunate to work with a disease called Ewing sarcoma, as Kathleen mentioned. You can check out my webpage at turetsky.georgetown.edu to learn more about the research that we're specifically doing, as I only have a little bit of time here. But I really want to thank you, Frank, for all of your donation that you're about to donate, literally a part of you. And it's actually funny, your name is Nutter, because there was a very famous Frank Netter who actually wrote most of the anatomy textbooks, and you're probably not related, but when I first saw your name, I thought, that's very interesting. But anyway, Frank, maybe we'll get to meet you in person someday, because we're here in downtown DC at Georgetown. Thank you all for all your hard work. Good luck. And I'm going to have to zoom out in a minute to go see patients in the clinic, but thank you so much for all you're doing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Turetsky. We're so glad you could join us and share a bit about your work. I hope that you and Frank can meet as well. Now I'd like to,
You can come to my laboratory.
okay.
All right,
Thank
bye,
you.
bye everybody.
Bye. Olivia, I'd like to introduce Olivia. She is joining us from Washington, DC. She was diagnosed with osteosarcoma at age 16 and is now 19 and finishing her first year at the University of Virginia. Olivia's chemotherapy protocol was 30 years old. Not one novel new compound has been approved for use in the US for initial treatment in that time. She's going to share a bit about her story and what it's like to be a survivor. As a survivor, we know it's not the end of the story. Olivia?
Hi, everyone. My name is Olivia Eggy, and I'm so grateful to Frank Nutter for shaving his head today. I'm a first year at the University of Virginia, and I live here near Frank in Arlington, Virginia. I was first diagnosed with osteosarcoma as a 16-year-old, halfway through her sophomore year of high school, and like my whole world fell apart. I did not see it coming at all. My treatment consisted of 9 months of chemotherapy and limb salvaging surgery to take the tumor out of my knee and replace it with metal, and then 48 rounds of immunotherapy that was non-FDA approved, so we had to import it from Europe. I was around halfway through my treatment. I had just had my knee surgery when St. Baldrick's chair Kathleen Luger helped us throw our first Brave the Shave event in Arlington, and I was discharged from the hospital the morning of the event, and I did not want to go. I was in the worst mood, and I didn't want everyone to see me with my wig, and I just wanted to go take a nap. But I ended up going and having the happiest time watching my friends and neighbors and family cheer me on and shave their heads. It was probably one of the best days of my life. I think we shaved like 200 heads. I have a twin brother. He shaved his head. All of his friends shaved his head. All my friends donated their hair, and it was so much fun. Since then, we have thrown 2 more events, and in all total, we have raised $1.5 million for osteosarcoma research, which is incredibly important considering there have not been any advancements in treatment in 40 years. Thankfully, I'm 2 years cancer-free, but I want you to know that even kids who survive have lingering effects from their cancer. I've had 3 major leg surgeries in the last month, and I'm waiting to have a 4th on May 7th to replace all the metal in my leg. The metal in my leg had an infection, so we're going through like this cycle where you take out the metal, put a spacer in, flush yourself with antibiotics for 6 weeks, then do the metal again, put new metal in. Anyways, the research at St. Baldrick's Funds helps kids battle cancer and also helps survivors as well try to get back to normal. St. Baldrick's is a lifesaver and makes dreams come true. So thank you so much. And Frank, you're gonna look beautiful bald.
Thank you so much, Olivia. We're so glad you could join us today and share a bit about your story. Thank you. The Decker family, they're also on screen. They're joining us from Texas. Their son, Joel and Seth, were identical twins with a very special bond, along with their older brother, Nathaniel, who is on screen today, who was a shavee this year. They filled their home with laughter. Seth was diagnosed with a rare form of acute myeloid leukemia in December 2016. 3 months later, a biopsy revealed Joel also had AML. Despite receiving bone marrow transplants, they both relapsed. Surrounded by family, Joel died on November 1st, 2017 at the age of 3, followed by Seth on May 10th, 2019 at 4 years old. The Deckers know that more research is needed for AML and keeping Joel and Seth's memories alive through their work with St. Baldrick's. I invite them to now speak and share their story.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, our sons, Joel and Seth, were both diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. Seth presented with a bony, at first I thought it was a bony type cancer, but it was a bony presentation for leukemia. And Seth went through 3 rounds of chemo and then went into bone marrow transplant. And then Joel was diagnosed while Seth was in bone marrow transplant. So Natalie was on bone marrow transplant floor with Seth, and I was on the oncology floor with Joel. And Joel had 2 rounds of chemo and then also went into bone marrow transplant.
And Joel relapsed just a couple of weeks after his bone marrow transplant. And I remember we were in a hospital room talking with our oncologist. And at that point, you know, Joel had had the standard chemotherapy protocol for AML, and there just weren't any other options. And, you know, we asked her, what can we do? And she shared with us about St. Baldrick's because we hadn't heard about St. Baldrick's before, and talked about all of the research that St. Baldrick's was able to do. And so Will started getting us involved with that at that point. And we are thankful. Thank you, Frank, for shaving your head. And we're just thankful for St. Baldrick's and the research they do, because we just don't want any other families to have to go through that. And it's very devastating not having any treatment options for your child when they're sick. So we're just grateful to everyone for what they're doing today.
Yeah, our primary oncologist had actually been a 5-year recipient of a St. Baldrick's grant. And so she was a very big proponent. And of course, we wanted to get involved and do what we could to help keep the memory of our boys alive. And so we feel like this is really the least we can do, is to get involved and raise money for research, because there's really not much worse in this world than hearing that you don't have any options. So Frank, thank you for doing this. It makes a difference.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Decker family. And everything we do is for this reason, so thank you. I would now like to share the 3 first donors who donated to Frank during this time, and the winners of the St. Baldrick swag bags. So we have a donation from Mr. Phil Ralston, Rahel Willis, I hope I pronounced that right, and Tom Doyle. So thank you so much to all of our guest speakers for sharing. Before we, I'd like to now kick it off to Mr. Frank Nutter to share a bit more.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I look forward to this. I'm actually joined today by my grandchildren. So Ryan and Drew Kiley, and Avery and Alex Nutter. And they're gonna do the shave. So we're all a little nervous about this. but well, I'm sorry. Drew is not nervous about this. He's very confident about this. So we're going to get on with this, but Kathleen mentioned at the outset about the coronavirus, and we're all looking now at the recovery from that and the assimilation back into our normal lives. But for these kids with cancer or kids who will get cancer, really there's not a new normal for them to look forward to. Hopefully there will be solutions to their cancer as we will find a vaccine for the virus. So with that, I think we're going to get started with this. I would say that in addition to the people that donated earlier, we're going to clip the top of my hair with a clipper and save that for anyone who wants to donate $500, and we'll shave that at the very end. But with that, I think we're ready to get started with this. Okay, so who's going to go first?
Wait a minute.
Okay, we're going to clip my hair. I think Drew's going to go first since he has the most confidence in himself about this. So bear with us here. Help him turn it on. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. This new paper.
Let the others do it.
It's like no hair coming off.
No, it's coming off.
Bear with us here.
This may be the longest shave
Well,
you've ever seen.
then let's do it
Okay.
from the front and do
Okay,
it
here,
instead of
wait
the
a
back so people can see.
Alex, come on. Okay, you're right.
Come on, Ryan.
Yeah.
Put it up against my head.
Well,
We're getting there.
it's so long. We just
There goes the first swipe. Looks great.
keep going. Here, come right
I
around.
haven't had a haircut
I'm
in
gonna get
what,
it.
6 to 8 weeks, so. We were really successful in the fundraising as well. I reached out to a lot of people that I knew and they were very generous with all this. So
Chris, you may have.
make a significant contribution to that. So they want you to help.
Okay,
They want you-
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
hold on.
Okay.
Avery. You're
Avery.
cutting hair now.
We're,
Avery.
we're continuing here. This may be a little
Here,
chaotic.
let Chris try
It is, by the
Make
way,
it
my
start.
birthday today, and the kids are going to take markers to my head as well. Chris, do it on the side. So
Okay.
Do it. Yep.
Frank, I do want to say happy birthday, and I also want to let you know your current fundraising total and everybody on screen. Frank has raised over $23,870.
And I would
So-
say I have pledges for 6,000 more, so we'll reach the $30,000 mark, which is, yeah.
That's remarkable.
So the-
Avery wants to start.
No, Avery.
okay, sorry this is taking longer, but
Okay, that's it.
just
Yeah.
take it off. We're gonna get there. I'll get bald.
He has
There's
hair.
there's over 50 people
have to be
watching on the YouTube stream right now. And Drew, it looks like a lot of people don't trust you with the clippers. We see Frank, you're very brave, trusting Drew with sharp objects.
Take it off.
We don't like- we don't like-
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
There we go.
Anybody else want to try? Oh, yes.
I'm
There
sorry.
you
How's it looking so far?
go. Believe you like going with the mullet.
Looking great.
All right,
Just
here you go,
a
guys.
reminder for all of our viewers on
Over
YouTube,
here. Dude.
if somebody donates $500, then Frank will take off the center clip and clip the top of his hair as well.
All this hair.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, apparently I have gray hair. Who knew?
Oh, it's in my hair.
So the kids, I shaved once before, and the kids were a little gun shy about getting next to me. And so Ryan was going to explain why we're going to take some markers and actually color my head. So why don't you pull that off and tell them about what we did before about marking my head.
We mark his head just so we feel a little more comfortable because we did not know, well, I did not know that he was going to be bald. And when I saw him, I did not know he was going to be bald. So we colored on his head to get more used to him.
Is it mostly off on the side?
Yeah, on that side, this side. You got it.
Come on, let's do the sides.
Okay,
The back doesn't.
Wait just a minute. Let's get over
Okay.
here. Okay. Here, get over here.
So we actually have some, we brought cupcakes for everyone. Sorry we can't share with everybody online, but the kids and I are gonna have a birthday celebration with this when they mark. So that's my ear.
There you go.
Oh, you cut your ear, I think.
Oh, yeah?
No. Come on, take them. Okay. How's it look so far?
Oh, no, you look like you have a mohawk. It
Okay,
kind of looks
okay.
cool.
Oh.
He looks like he's an Indian boy.
Apparently a mohawk looks cool on me. Who knew that their grandfather would,
Well, you have a little bit of black there.
that's not my ear, right? That's my hair?
That's your ear. That's your ear, Paul. Let's put your ear back on.
Okay. So are we near the point where
All
if
of
someone's
the shirt.
donated the 500, we can take the top off?
Frank, we got good news. We see that we do have a Kathleen Reardon who just donated $500.
Terrific. All right, let's do it.
Thank you, Kathleen,
We
for
want to take the top
your
off.
support.
So don't worry about the back. Let's take the top off.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
You want to do it, Linda?
No.
I can't.
Thank you, Kathleen, by the way. Mm.
Rick Rome just posted on the live streaming, also 500 for the top.
Oh, fantastic.
A lot of people want that hair, Frank.
Yeah. So maybe the kids should get their markers and we'll start that.
There's a stranger.
There's a stranger in the
That's pretty
house.
much all.
All right.
Okay. Oh, it feels off.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Oh, that's scary.
Okay. So now I invited the kids to celebrate my birthday by writing, no, not on my beard, on my head. Sorry, this is a little chaotic. Somebody can come over here to the other side.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
That is a marker. Spider-Man.
So I think I'm getting signatures for my head. I hope that this is, whatever they're writing is for the general public and not anything inappropriate.
Someone write who? He's not bleeding. That's red.
Okay, how about the back?
It's coming along. Here, we get the side one.
Yeah.
All right, so,
Yeah, you're gonna have to take it down.
Okay. so we're gonna get cupcakes now and celebrate the birthday. I'm sorry we can't share cupcakes with you, but I'm thrilled with the opportunity to do this and help raise money for research. And I'm glad that these families have joined us today to share their stories. So thank you. So we'll continue. A lot of hair.
You have a
And
lot.
just a reminder, Frank's link will be up year-round. So I know we got some people in the chat saying that they're also going to be making donations. Thank you all so
That's
much.
terrific. Well, thank you. It was an honor to be part of this and be a Shavy.
Right, Carol Nutter commented, she said, great job. She also said, you deserve 2
Yeah.
cupcakes, Frank.
Yeah, I think I've got their 2 kids here today. I may have them for the whole day.
Wait, your mom's on there?
Yeah. Well, thank you for helping us arrange this today and for celebrating my birthday with me.
Looks like the kids are having a great time, Frank.
Yeah, they are, right? Yeah.
This guy's a stranger. Don't worry.
Looking great.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think we're through with the shave and
With the drawing.
It may be-
You've got enough drawing, too.
the drawing may have to take a little while. Got the washable markers.
Let's put
when
some
I
hair
did
back
this.
on.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Frank,
I'm gonna go take a
we
shower.
also have 9-year-old Micah joining us from California. He has spent the bulk of his life fighting cancer. 2 phases of his nearly 7 years of treatment were centered around Unituxin, an immunotherapy drug developed with support from St. Baldrick's. It has been so effective in improving survival among high-risk neuroblastoma patients that it is now part of the standard treatment approach. Micah's scans have been clear for more than 5 years. He's been completely off treatment for a little over a year and had his first survivorship clinic appointment in February. Micah will also be shaving his head later this year.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so we'll kick it off to Micah as soon as we're finished with the shave.
Yep. I think we're finished with the shave.
Okay,
We're finished with the drawing.
okay. Micah?
You want to see what they've done?
Hi, like was said, I'm Micah Bernstein, and at exactly 15 months old, I was diagnosed with stage 4 high-risk neuroblastoma, and I relapsed twice in 5 months, which was very annoying. Although in my family, the cancer phase that's most known is my first relapse when my femur folded in on itself, which was just awesome. And to me, survivorship, which I've had for, actually, it was 5 years towards the end of August. So, yay. To me, survivorship means I can live a normal-ish life, and I can spread awareness about childhood cancer. I'm 9 years old, and I'm in 3rd grade at Rio Elementary in San Diego. And we just started distance learning on Tuesday. At the beginning of the year, I did a season of soccer. Sadly, we did not make it to the playoffs. And I joined a swim team about a month before the quarantine began, which helped a lot. Thanks again for inviting me to the shave. Just as a reminder, like Liz said earlier, Frank's link will be up for a while because because kids with cancer still need support. And for everyone who didn't hear, today is Frank's birthday. Happy birthday, Frank. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and thank you for the birthday wish.
Thank you all so much. Thank everybody for joining. And Frank, we want to wish you just a very happy birthday. We know there's some comments coming in saying that you are the official pioneer of head graffiti. So if there's any last words you'd like to share, we invite you to do so. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks to everyone who joined this webcast, but also for the donations that were given by so many people and so many families. And it's nice to hear that it really has made a difference in the lives of some kids for both the treatment as well as the research to find a cure. I really like being part of that.
Thank you. And we're so excited to have you part of our board as well.
Thank you.
All right. Thank everybody for joining. We'll keep you updated on the YouTube live, on the YouTube comments on Frank's total, and you can always click his link to see what he's raised. So thank you all so much. Have a great day. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Frank. Thanks to all your helpers.
Frank.